Money, 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 money. Money. So at this point, I have already presented videos on sex and death, and this one is on money. Hello, my name is Ashley. Thank you for being in my space. I am happy to have you here. These concepts are near and dear to my heart, and I find that the thread that links all three of them together gives us a great opportunity to witness ourselves, to take the thought experiment, because I am a truth seeker, and sometimes we have to play out the verifications for ourselves, and these are more of like a truth experiment, a thought experiment, and just concepts for you to generally just like chew on yourself. And chew on why actually maybe some of these things can be confronting. Because in the first video, I said, go fuck yourself. And I mean that as like, go get yourself an afternoon delight. Go get yourself some alone bedroom time. So, okay, money I think is interestingly enough similar. There's been many opportunities throughout my life that I can share as I get comfortable sharing. And they definitely connect as to how sex and money relate to one another, and how you treat your money, and the relationship that you have with yourself, and the relationship that you just have with money in general, as like what you're putting on it. So, 17 years as a hairstylist, one thing that I think is maybe important to point out here, maybe, I don't know, but there was a point in my career where I made it to where I wanted to make it, making a lot of money, and really just feeling like, oh, okay, I've reached it. I did everything I wanted to do, and I was miserable. Like, you learn the lesson that like money doesn't make you happy, and you really just have to have that experience for yourself. So wealth, money, and how we handle it are not necessarily only, I learned this for myself because I was scared to talk about money to any degree of like, I have some understanding, but I've been a business owner for 17 years and I do actually have an understanding. And it's not exclusively for the people who are rich right now who could talk about money, because the reality is when you have no money and you make money and then you have no money, you always know, well, I hope that I can experience with you an inspiration that like once you have it, you can potentially remind yourself the confidence and competence that like, I've already done this before, I can do this again. So, and just witnessing what money is across the board. What does it provide? Why are you getting after it? And so throughout my years of experience, I have used my money to potentially impress other people, which didn't really last long because technically that's just not who I am. I've used most of my money to travel and invest in coaches, and I don't really have a lot to show for it currently right now. I think me talking about money is funny because there has been a huge shift in my life. And while I know that money is always going to come, it just happens to be an experience of life in money that it is putting all of the things I've learned to test. So cool. Seems appropriate that I would talk about it. For instance, I feel more excited about making money and doing anything after I've had the experience of sex and moving through creatively and witnessing who I am and like being witnessed by somebody else and these sort of things. The way that we go about money is sometimes, whether we're in pleasure or pain, because of the way that we do things, even the way that we understand ourselves, usually have to come from a place of like, I'd really like more pleasure, which is kind of where I was. Or like, this pain is unbearable, I need to learn something else. And money can be a big way to turn it around on you as well. And you can notice how quickly or what you do with your money gives you a clear picture of how you take care of yourself, or obviously what you value. Okay, so really this whole money conversation can be about what you value. And when you go into any type of self-work, it's important probably to start off with just like what it is that you value. In my little trailer video, it was like, just don't even come here if you don't value the understanding of asking questions about this great mystery that we call life, but never really getting any answers. So it's like you're searching for the truth, but it's just probably not going to come along. So if you don't have any idea of like what you value, then like where do you even start to look, right? Like I also will definitely talk about good and bad and how we place emphasis and like titles on it, right? Like, so sometimes people are like, rich people are bad, and rich people might be like, poor people are bad. And so nobody's good or bad. It's just also like, what is your aim with your money? What's your value? So like, I value freedom and play over everything. And that's a whole nother concept that I probably will talk about in addition to sex, money, and death, play. So like how much you can play with money is up to you, really. So what are you working for, and like what's your money giving you in form of value, or is it just completely priceless? So in my experience, I've made money, lost money, made money, and that is actually how it went down in my family as well. We were like, yes, no, like, and that's fine in a way, because really it taught me how to be an entrepreneur, and knowing that money's coming your way and that you can make it in any way, shape, or form is huge of what I think that having this information of anything about yourself gives you a huge step up in competence. Like this about yourself, so you don't necessarily have to let it take you out when you find yourselves going through like a risky season, right? Anything with risk is money, right? Yes, and death for sure too, but money is usually like, oh, I can't leave this job because of this money. I can't leave this partner because of money. I can't go to the doctor because of money. You have all these things that are really tied up in money. And then you got the shame tied up in it. And, we're not necessarily taught from a young age that like you could have a job that you love. And as a matter of fact, like you should work towards a job that you love. And that's not typical with conversations when it involves money. Throughout my entire life with my friends, I've always kind of dealt with money a little bit differently. And this has been an experience, I think that it is valuable for everybody to have, that if you've always lived a certain lifestyle and you've had an experience of what money can offer you in the realm of comfort, then when you come through a season, when you're starting to learn yourself, you come through a lot of discomfort, right? So a lot of discomfort. So it depends on like what type of person you want to be and what kind of lessons that you're willing to grasp. Because when you find yourself on that ramen noodle diet, because you're trying to be brave enough and courageous enough to take a leap into the next season or life experience, like you want to change careers, or you want to go on that life-changing trip, you want to go to school, whatever it is, you have that capacity and capability to do that because you're brave. And I think that there's not a whole lot more that says that you're brave than how you really face your money issues and you face your money relationship. And it's not necessarily just like your money box. It's not that simple. And in lots of ways, even thinking about like manifestation of like, oh, you have to live in abundance. But a lot of the other things that I would like to teach about are concepts with fourth way. And a lot of these things that we do are really mechanical, especially the way we spend money, especially because it's on a card or our phone now. We just do it really like mindlessly. So then you mindlessly rack up debt, and then you feel stressed, and then it like spirals into everything. Like if you're having money issues, you're definitely not excited about having sex, and then if you're having money issues, you're even more scared about death, and then sometimes it feels like a way out. And then do you see how this kind of can get out of control? And we're not talking about it. So if you're around me ever in my life, in real life, or just in regular conversation, I will probably at least bring up some type of money conversation, whether it is just the curiosity of like, how do you live your life? Like, do you like your job? Like, do you enjoy playing these things? Do you work to play for this? Do you, like, how important do you think it is to use the money you have now to enjoy your life versus putting money away for a future that you may or may not have? This is where I get a little confronting, and that's totally okay, because like, welcome to my space. You do not have to be here. But I don't necessarily follow the social norms that everybody has, especially I've owned a business for a long time and I do my absolute best. I'm not perfect at it, but I do know and I understand the concepts, and I do know how to speak up and have self-authority. And money is a huge aspect of self-authority. So it's definitely a way to get to know yourself, and it's definitely a way to get to understand a lot of different things. So welcome to my space. There's so much, money kind of got me swirled up on, like, there's so much to talk about. And thank you for being here. I really enjoy having this experience. And again, take these thought experiences and try them on for verification and see if these spark any type of interest or curiosity with you.